Welcome to the Micah Winn Show, the adoption segment. Adoption happens all over the world, whether it be open adoption, which is an adoption where the birth mother chooses the adopting parents with help from an agency, or closed adoption, an adoption in which the birth mother gives up the child or chooses the adopting parents with no future communication with the child. Today we will be interviewing two families. One family made the decision to have an open adoption and the other decided to have a closed adoption. First we will be interviewing Miss Branch, a social worker that specializes in adoption, an adoptive mother named Brittany, and a biological mother named Shelby, on their experiences with open adoption. Can you explain open adoption?
Well, open adoption is when the birth mother or the parents choose the adoptive parents of their child. The birth parents have full access to communicate with the parents and the child.
Under what circumstances do you allow the child to see their biological parents?
In the beginning, we made an agreement that Shelby could see her on birthdays and holidays such as Thanksgiving, Easter, and Christmas.
Was it hard to give up your daughter when she was born?
It was hard in the beginning, but I realized that someone else could provide better for her than I could, and it made it easier knowing that I had an open adoption so I could keep contact with her.
Does your daughter react in any kind of way that shows a negative or positive way?
Sometimes she has difficulty figuring out who she is because of the adoption.
Is it normal for the child to react in this way?
It is very normal for the child to react this way. They are not sure who they are because they do not look like or act like their adoptive parents.
That is a lot of good information. Thank you. Next, we are going to hear from a closed adoption parent and child. Now we have with us our closed adoption family, Sarah and Brittany. Ms. Branch, can you please explain closed adoption for us?
Yes, closed adoption is a situation when a biological parent decides to give the child away because of certain circumstances.
Can you tell us why you chose a closed adoption over an open adoption?
I chose a closed adoption because I felt that it would provide a more stable environment and closure for the situation.
Brittany, can you tell me how you felt when you first found out you were in a closed adoption?
Well, it was a bit surprising at first, but I've been part of the same environment all of my life, so it feels like I've been part of this family since I've been born.
Do you ever wonder about your biological parents?
Sometimes I wonder why they gave me up, but I'm content where I'm at, so it doesn't really bother me that much.
Thank you. Up next, we have both families and a professional social worker talk with us about both adoptions. Now that we've heard from both sides separately, we wanted to come together and have a group discussion. Mothers, can you please tell me why you chose to go to the adoption that you did?
Personally, I was a teen mom and knew that my child could have a better life with a family that could care for them, but I still wanted to have some contact to be able to watch my child grow up.
I wanted my daughter to always know where she came from and to be able to have contact with her biological parents in case she had any questions for them that I couldn't answer.
In my opinion, I believe that my daughter would have an easier and less complicated life if they didn't have to deal with the confusion of having numerous families.
Do you agree with your mom that that was the best decision for you?
Yes, because I'm content with the family that I'm with now, and I think it's a less complicated and stressful situation the way it is.
Ms. Branch, what do studies show of the emotional effects on the child in a closed and open adoption?
For closed adoption, the child is protected from being emotionally disturbed because of unstable birth parents. In open adoptions, the child comes to better terms with understanding why their birth parents gave them up, and their emotions are eased.
This concludes our discussions on adoptions. Tune in next week for our discussion of international versus domestic adoptions. Thank you and good evening. Is it hard to give your daughter when she was Now we have with us our close adoption family, Sarah and Brittany. Ms. Branch. Now that we've heard from both sides separately, we wanted to come together and have a group discussion.